accessing nested arrays in JavaScript. As we have seen in earlier examples, objects can contain both nested objects and nested arrays. Similar to accessing nested objects, array bracket notation can be chained to access nested arrays. And below we are provided with an example of how to access a nested array. So first things first, we are presented with variable our pets, which is assigned an array, an upper level array right here. And within that array, there are two objects. And our first object contains properties animal type, which simply contains a string value of cat. And our second property contains an array, with string values Meowser, Fluffy, and Kit Kat. Then we move on to our second object, which contains the same property names of animal type and names, but is assigned different values. So our first property for our second object contains a string value of dog, and our names property for our second object contains an array with values Spot, Bowser, and Frankie. And below that, we are provided with examples of accessing our object through array bracket notation and dot notation. So here we are accessing our object, our pets, at position 0 of our array. Sorry, we are accessing our pets array, or our pets upper level array, at position 0, which would be 1. Remember that arrays are accessed with a 0-based index. So we are accessing this object right here, and through dot notation, we are accessing our names property at position 1, which would be the second value contained in our array, our second string value of Fluffy. Then we are accessing our pets array at position 1, which is our second object in our array. And we are accessing our names property through dot notation at position 0 with array bracket notation. So this would return the string Spot. And right here, they are explaining exactly that. Our pets at position 0 accessing our names property at position 1 would be our string Fluffy. And accessing our pets array at position 1, which would be our second object, and then accessing our names property at position 0 would be the string Spot right here. And then we are tasked with retrieving the second tree from the variable myPlants right here using object dot and array bracket notation. So we currently have our variable myPlants. We need to access our second object within our variable, within our array, which currently holds two objects, and then go inside of our list property, inside of our second object, and retrieve the pine string, which is our second tree. So let's do that real quick by following what we just saw in the example. So we need to change this line right here and access our second tree. So our variable is called myPlants. So we need to access that first. myPlants, our array at position 1, which would be our second object. And then we need to access our list property. We can do that through dot notation. At position 1 also, because pine is our second value contained within our nested array in our object. So we simply type in 1 right here, and that would return a string value of pine. So let's just check if we are correct. And I believe we are. So let's just log our variable second tree, which is pine. So we have successfully accessed a nested array within an object within an upper level array. So let's run our tests to see if we are correct. And yes, we are.